I think I'm one of the few people who's same age as you, so I'll call you by your first name. So Srini, I want to talk about you've been the epitome of excellence in execution in many things. You've been in Satyam, did a company that spun off and became Cognizant, and you have built companies and you have built cities. And I want you to talk a little bit about, while the glamour and the economic success of it is seen, what is that attention to detail and the execution that it takes to make these things happen? What is the secret to success from an execution point of view?
A lot of these things have happened, just on the way. I really did not plan for everything. I just started with I just want to share some interesting thing. Like, till today, I did not know that JSC was the #1 ranked person. I've been working with him for the last 30 years. So I will say something about me also. And every position that I had in the past, whether it was first to start with the executive director of Satyam, then the CEO of Dun & Bradstreet Satyam Software, which is Cognizant, I was not the chosen one. The chosen people did not show up to the job. So I was told that, can you please sit there until we find a replacement.
You were the understudy.
Yes. And every time, and I did not have an appointment letter for my first two jobs that I did, the executive director of Satyam and the CEO of Dun & Bradstreet. Both of them did not have appointment letters. Just I happened to be there. Since the chosen person did not come, they said, okay, you sit there. But as I was there, I'm an obsessive person. When I take up something, I'm just on it all the time. That's my both strength and also weakness. Today in the audience, my wife is there. She always said that, you can only do one thing at a time. But that's me.
Two things. Marriage is also one thing.
Well, they have never bothered me that much, so they allowed me to do whatever I wanted to do in life. And, there was a time I used to travel 200 days a year. Still, they didn't bother me, so they allowed me to do whatever I wanted to do. That support was always there. Now, coming here, successfully what we have chosen those things that what gave me always encouragement is that, being the first or something that did not exist, can we do something? That's kind of motivation always. And each one of them that we picked up, there was a white space there, and we took that thing and we worked hard for it. And it's always by the example. I will give one anecdote for you to be able to share today. Today, all of us are very, we don't even know how this connectivity happened. We take our mobile phones, 10 Mbps, 100 Mbps, files get downloaded in no time. When the first 64 kilobit per second connectivity happened in 1992 between India and the US, by the way, 64 kilobits per second, we have celebrated as a country. The newspaper reported with VSNL saying that today India is connected with America with 64 kbps connection. And when we were testing that, and it's in the US time with the computer based in Moline, Illinois, with John Deere and Company. And here we were sitting in Kakani Towers in Nungambakam, Chennai. And we had to do at their times. And somewhere in the 4 a.m., this technical guy comes running to me saying, Srini, come. We can see the ping now. I was sleeping on the sofa there in the little office there. So even though I was not the technical person, I was always there with my team. I slept along with them there itself. I used to take them out for midnight biryani at 12 p.m. to midnight here. So, and that's the kind of thing, with passion that we have done. Each one of the things that I took up with the same passion. There was successes, there were also failures. It's not that everything we did was a successful thing.
Yeah. And I think it's that being with your team always, and also let's talk a little bit about how you train your team, because we talked about how you've seen in China versus Japan versus your visit to Foxconn. What did you learn about how to train a team to get the most out of them?
Yes. many times, most of us, including me, though I went for IIT and as a dropout in my master's program, a lot of people that we worked out during that time were from non-IIT, the regular tier 2 colleges kind of thing. And these are the people who, it's not that had a tremendous amount of intellect or anything, they're willing to work hard. So what we have learned from different places, as you're saying, the first was US was our lesson. In Silicon Valley, people are crazy. They work 24/7. You know, that craziness I brought to my teams here in India. We work 24/7 whenever we took it there. Then you go to Japan and kind of thing, they're very punctual. Those people, you know, I mean, they're very hardworking people, but they work to the rules only. Then a little later in the days, I went to the China. That's a very interesting thing. Then we saw how these Foxcons of the world make use of this billion people who did not have a proper education. They break down the work into small pieces so that everybody can do a piece of the job. I don't want to say like a robotic kind of thing. They do change their work on a regular basis. This week they will do one component. Next year they do another component kind of thing. But they have kept in mind the billion people who do not have the same skills. So we tend to think most of us who come from little better schools and what we did, you know, all of India is like that, although it's not that. Most of the people are very average people. They need to be told what to do. Once we explain to them the particular task and how to do, they can perform that. That's something which I learned from China. That's how that country put to work a billion people, which we have failed to do to a large extent. So that's what we need to do going forward.
And you also talked about like when you were sending people to US, you know, the kinds of things you have to think about getting people ready for work actually have nothing to do sometimes with the technical capability. It's a bunch of things outside. So tell us a little bit about the things, especially when they come from small towns and suddenly they're in America. What are the kind of things you have to teach them?
The engineers that I'm talking about, so we used to send them to on-site assignments to coordinate the projects that we were doing in India. So they're not really very junior, they're like a team leader, team managers. So when we go there, they call me and with a complaint, Srini, you know, these guys go to the bathroom and make the whole bathroom messy. So then we started looking, what is it kind of thing. So when they wash their face in the wash basin, they kind of throw the water like that. So it goes beyond the face. And similarly, I'm sorry, this is not a great example, but wanted to share that, you know, when they sit on the commode, they climb on top of it and sit. So when the people who use that after that, they see that it's all being messed up kind of thing. So we went to that level of detail of training the people, of all the way how you, in the hygienity, how you use the things, you know, eating the food. And especially, you know, this other thing is, those of us who come from South, we use sambar rice. So you make this kind of sound when you push the food inside. Yeah. And those guys used to get irritated. So we had to even train that thing, you know, just don't do that. Yeah. So that's the level of things that we had to go through it. I'm very happy that, yes, I mean, it looked very odd at that time, but, you know, the progress we have made in the last 35 years and, you know, learning from these little things, it gives me a lot of happiness. And gives me a lot of confidence that the next generation, that they're much better, they have exposure. Even if they didn't go to America, they see the, you know, whatever the videos and all of them. I think we have a much better future.
Now the Americans are learning how to eat with your hand and make that noise and really enjoy your food. You know, you also have benefited from great education systems. You know, you went to REC, which is now NIT, you went to Utah, you studied, etc. But we talk about how all the institutions you've helped create, whether it's KRIA or ISB or IIIT or whatever, it's for the 1% of the India. And the Bharat, the 99%, there is a huge need to educate them. And you have some specific ideas about that. So tell us about how can we educate the masses in a way that they can have a job.
Yeah. It's all started in the first trip of Mr. Chandrababu Naidu to the US. We all went along with him. And then he was addressing the Indians there. You guys have done so well. Why in India we have the difficulty? So most of them said we have this word ecosystem. You know, you go to Boston, you have the MIT, Harvards. Then you go to West Coast, you have the Stanford, Berkeley, and all that. So we need to create these educational institutions. So then we came back and then he asked us saying, why don't you do it? I happened to be there helping him those days with PPTs, presentations and all that. So then I got into IIIT Hyderabad, then ISB later on, then successful things. So we focused on creating the institutions of excellence so that, not all of us need to go to America. We also have institutions there. Of course, IITs, IIMs were very good, no doubt about it. But they were not addressing all the numbers. They always had this exclusive club attitude. We'll take 500 people a year, 200 people a year. But this country is very big. We need a lot more people. So we need a lot more things. Subsequently, it happened. The government has started many IITs, IIMs. I'm talking about way back in 30 years ago. Yeah. We didn't have as many of them. So we went through that. Then I realized that one day, and I'm talking about Sri City, that there are two universities there, Kriya University and IIIT Sri City. And both of them, we have given land, money to bring them from, to locate them there. Then I realized that not one of them work in the state of Andhra Pradesh or Sri City, because their entry-level salary expectations are about 12 to 15 lakhs rupees. Of course, IITs are all 25. These guys are a step below, but still, there's no job that pays an entry-level salary of 12 lakhs rupees in the state of Andhra Pradesh or Sri City. Up to that extent, our neighboring Chennai also, other than some IT companies, much of the manufacturing. Then we said most of us have spent a lot of our time, money on these things. It's nice that has happened. I'm very happy about it. Now we need to look at the next people. These people who go to these IITs, they're all about top 20,000 people of this country. That's it. Now we have millions of people who have to go through the tier 2, tier 3 institutions. Unfortunately, there the quality of the institution teaching and all those things doesn't exist. That's an unfortunate thing it is. Even those of you who went to state universities like Andhra University, Osmania University and all of them, you go there today, you'll feel very bad. It's not the same thing as what it was when we went there. The states have successfully ignored the education system across. Even including this state, we are very, very fond of, very, happily, we have all done very well. Still, education, I don't think it's been the same. So then some of us, JSG is there, he also knows part of it. In fact, he got me into the new Young India University here. And we started looking at this how do we now get the skills to the remaining people. An example for you is Telangana produces 5 lakh students every year out of 12th class. Out of the 10,000 people find their own way. What will happen to 4,90,000 people? They need help. So that is what now we are looking at, is to kind of create a supply chain for the human talent. The supply chain exists for manufacturing today, but human talent also we want to do it. First start from the demand side of it, from the companies kind of thing, what they want to, what kind of skills they need, how many people for the next 3 years, create a database of that and work backwards from there so that the people can be taught those skills very specifically so that they become very useful for the industry.
Now, there is, for example, if you look at building industries, booming, there's need for carpenters, there's need for electricians, there's need for a lot of things. But in India, sometimes I think we suffer from lack of dignity of labor. Like if someone is a driver, they're not called a chauffeur. And so it's sort of, there's a class distinction. What can we do to bring that respect to all jobs? Because then people would vie to go for those jobs or learn those jobs.
Yeah. After after creating the first Young India Skill University, and JSG and the Chief Secretary, Madam, they have called for a meeting of quite a few of IAS officers, some people like me from the industry. They told us in no uncertain times that, the expectations of the children of Telangana are very different. And they shared their own experiences of it. And one is the money that they make. Second thing is the social part of it. This is what the example one person gave me. He said that I don't need this 25,000 rupees a plumber job or a carpenter job. I know I can make that. Give me a 10,000 rupees job in your office so that I can get married. That's an issue. We need to solve that problem. So then I reached out to my friends in the movie industry. I said, can you please write the scripts in such a way that you highlight the characters of these people being, without them, the society does not work. And we all should realize that. If my driver is not there, I would not have come here. And the people who are outside there, if they are not there, we won't eat lunch today. That realization has to come to all of us. We need to respect, even more respect them, because that's the essence of the whole the service industry or manufacturing industry kind of thing. So the starting has to come, every time they give you the tea, coffee, say thank you. So fine, they feel good saying that my job is also as important kind of thing. And we have to bring that as a nation. So we start somewhere, we start moving up there. So another request I made to the movie people is that, in comedy, especially in Telugu comedy, those of you, who are not from here, they make fun by saying that if the guy who looks like me dark, they say Nallodu. That means he's that back fellow. That kind of, they make fun. There's a guy called Sunil, a comedian in Telugu. Lot of comedy is around, his looks. Okay, it's okay, do it, but somewhere it hurts the other people too. Maybe he doesn't mind, but others do mind if they're called with those names kind of thing. Similarly, for work-wise, that's about more of this. I'm just bringing back to the thing saying that we all have to consciously, behave that every job is important. Otherwise, we'll have great difficulty in finding people to do a lot of works there. Yes, today we are getting people from Odisha, Chhattisgarh and all that because they don't have as many jobs there. When the factories go there and build the things there, we will not have people here to serve all of us.
Yeah. So my last question to you is, you also built TV9, which is a media company. And despite that, you are a very media shy person. We don't see you everywhere. We don't see your pictures everywhere. You don't give that many interviews. Why is that? What is important for you in holding your identity behind versus your work?
That's a very important thing, especially these media guys write about everybody else. Then somebody will say, why are you not writing about your shareholders, himself and his family kind of thing. Our family, not only me, my wife and all of them, we have been very private from the beginning. And it's not that, I thought about it so much kind of thing. For me, this publicity and being there everywhere never gave me that happiness. That's never me. That's as a personality. Then you say, why did you get into the media business? And if you did not like it, at least when we got in, the thinking was not that we write stories about the personal lives of the people. That was never the case. We thought that at that time, the media, either they acted with one party or the other. The neutrality wasn't missing. So we said that we will give, instead of us giving the commentary, people thought media means they give the editorial. Editorial is all about the media. We said, no, we will say nothing, just give the mic to the people, let them say what they feel. And somebody says that, crying and says that I'm being abused, they went there. The TV9 initiative was very, very successful because they were there everywhere. And, so that actually brought the prominence, whether in Telugu or in Kannada, they used to have something 50% market share because they were very neutral, they were on the side of the people. That is what excited me, honestly. Not about, writing gossips about others and all of them. As the things progress, then I realized that, I'm not made for it. And it's becoming very tough because it went into every state. They do some story which I have no control. I had never involved myself in the editorial part of the things or even telling them what to do, what not to do. And then I knew that, nobody in my family was also interested. So the best thing is, sell it to somebody who will probably have a proper control. Otherwise, it's like a weapon without a control. So things can actually go wrong. That's why we have exited.
So my last thing I want you to leave us with is you're building Sri City now with a lot of in companies, everybody coming there. What would you want Sri City to be?
Yeah. See, the big cities have enough financial things. Like you want to build all these building nice things you have. What I realized, my biggest learning is that when you go to tier 2, tier 3, the economics are not there. They get paid 25,000 rupees. How do they live? Where do they live? Where do they eat? How do they transport? If they have a family, how do they maintain it? So my dream is that with somebody who makes 25,000 rupees should be able to have a child and also send the child to a school. Can we build something like that? And that's what we've been working with a lot of officers, and the Niti Aayog has been very supportive on that thing. My dream is that that's what it is. Somebody who makes 25,000 rupees should be able to live in dignity. save 5,000 rupees, send the children also to the school. That's the thing. If we can do it, then the other billion will also live in dignity kind of thing. If not billion, at least 500 million of. Otherwise, these 200 million people that we go around wherever we are the same people, which I call Indian economy. The billion is the Bharat economy. If the Bharat economy and if the divide becomes bigger between India and divide, we will have a problem. We will have a problem. That's not something we should not ignore. Someday they will say all these guys, the rich guys, doing well. So some, jealousy will come. That leads towards violence. So far, we've been a non-violent company. It's very important that all of us pay, the attention to that problem that much of the India lives below 25,000 rupees. How do they live a dignified life?
Thank you so much for your time.